Good morning. Thank you for watching the replay. I'm super excited for you to see this today. Hopefully you're with us live. If you're with us live, you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube or now you're on LinkedIn. So if you're joining us today, I'm super excited to have you here because the topic we're talking about is very relevant and important for all business owners. We're talking about taking a stand for a cause in your business. So I know a lot of things are going on, and there's always something to take a stand for, something you're passionate about, something you really want to make known that you want to align that with your business and really make a stand for that cause. And that is what we're going to talk about today. I have Maryrose Solis. She is a personal branding coach and founder of March Forward. And she's going to talk to us today about how to bring that cause into your business with intention, not contention. And I love that phrase. I'm super excited to have you here with us. If you're here, say hi. Let us know in the comments that you're here and what you hope to learn and the causes that you're passionate about. Tim's already here. How's it going, Tim? And we're going to have a really good conversation. And then afterwards, right after the show, we're going to huddle up in a messenger chat room and really connect because I'm all about connection. I'm all about building relationships. And right now, we just need to take every opportunity that we can to really connect. I'm so excited for you to be here. My name is Airom. I'm the founder of Capitalize Social Media, and I help life and business coaches gain visibility and increase impact using the power of live video, just like we're doing today. And you can have your own platform too. So super excited about that. This show is also powered and sponsored by Wave.video, one of my favorite video editing tools. And they actually have created, or not they have created, I have created this video, my intro video, using Wave.video. So I'm going to show that to you right now, and I'm going to bring Maryrose on with us. And here is Maryrose. Hello, Maryrose.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. We got to chat a little bit before the show, so it's fun to catch up with you.
Yes.
And we'll get to chat after the show. If you stick around after, I know you're going to stick around for a little bit, then we'll be able to chat and connect there too. So. Hello, Karen. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. Shout out to the huddle. Yes, we're all going to huddle and connect.
Hey, Karen.
That's what we're doing. Yes, Maryrose is everywhere. Yay! Are you going to be on Tim's show soon too?
Hopefully, we've connected. So I'm excited if we can get on that. I love coffee and I love donuts. So that's it's a done deal. It's a done deal.
There you go. That's awesome. I love it. I'll take the donuts any day. Coffee, I'll pass.
Yes, you're not
donuts. I'm not a coffee drinker. I love it. I love the taste. I love the smell. Can't handle the caffeine, but that's a story for another day. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love pickles. Oh goodness. You and your pickles. So silly. I love when Tim shows up to our shows. He's always so much fun to hang out with. So let us know. Yeah, Tim stands for coffee and donuts for sure. But on a serious note, I really want to listen and understand to you guys watching right now. What are the causes that causes that you stand for, in your business, and how to do that? That's what we're going to talk about today. Is how we do that and how we bring it all together. So I'm really excited to learn more about that with you, Maryrose. So why don't you do a little better introduction than I did? I want to make sure everyone knows who you are, what you do, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, forgive us, everybody. It's early morning, and Tim, you'll be mortified. I haven't had a sip of coffee yet. So good morning, everybody. I am Maryrose Solis, and I have been doing independent freelance marketing work for over almost 7 years now. But like many of solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, I came from the whole corporate world, 9 to 5, in a variety of industries and working with a variety of companies, and then moved into startup technology. So I've done the gamut. I'm very much a left and right brain thinker because my past world was very analytical. And now I get to exercise a little bit of both, but mostly creative. So I enjoy that a lot. My focus is working really with folks in creating their personal brand, because I think it's so important right now, especially today. This year has kind of pulled everybody back and just, sitting within themselves and really thinking about who they are, what they believe in, what principles and values do they hold. And it's now more than ever, I think, important to share that, right, with your audience, because we're just in this world that's a little troubling, to say the least. And I think the more we can show our heart genuinely, the more we'll attract the ideal client, right? The one that you are kind of called to serve, right? Called to work with. So that's kind of what I've been doing these days, and at the same time with my March Forward company, just doing general marketing on a monthly retainer, just helping and supporting small business owners. So that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, I love that. I've known you for a while. We've known each other for a few
Yeah.
years now. And, when you say left brain, right brain, I was like, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. You're totally like the balance of the creative, but the strategic and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
yay. I love that. That makes
I told
so much
people,
sense.
because I told folks that it was my journey was I was so focused on which one's the analytical, the right brain thinking, that I didn't get a chance to exercise the creative side as much, which was I think more inherent in me. And so now I'm very fortunate to have kind of now integrated both and really using my nurtured skills and my natural talents, right? So which is really nice.
Perfect. That's a perfect combination. Yes. And we have George here. He says,
Hi,
no
George.
coffee.
He's my brother from Atlanta. Hi,
Oh,
George.
hey, George.
With you.
Thanks for being here. Yes, yeah, no coffee for me either. Yes, so I got George and me. We're the only ones in the whole world that don't drink coffee. That's okay. We're drinking lots of water and lots of other stuff.
Yes.
I'm on a kombucha. How do you say it? Kombucha?
Oh,
Kombucha kick right now.
I see that. I've seen that all the time. And I always wondered if that's how that is. Like I just haven't tasted it yet, though.
It's really good, actually. But it is kind of an acquired taste. And actually, I only like the kind that has chia seeds in it. For some reason, I like the texture of having that in it. And chia seeds are really good for you too. So
Yes,
yeah, I feel like I'm being a little healthy with probiotics. Anyways, yes, now more than ever. And yes, Brian Schulman, he's going to be on the show next month. He is all about the heart too.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he posted something about he posted that his daughter is turning 20 years old, and he posted all these pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why do kids have to grow up so fast? I was like, had me like almost in tears. Like
That makes you more appreciative, like you said. As much as it's difficult for having the kids at home, you realize like, oh, at least you get the opportunity, yes, to hopefully before he becomes 18 all of a sudden, and you're like, oh.
It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen fast. I know for sure. So Tim asked a good question. We're gonna get into our personal branding and how we incorporate those causes. How do we stay away from controversial causes, and how do we figure this out? I think Tim's kind of getting us. That's a good question right into our topic.
He's leading into the topic. That's part of that whole, brand with intention, not contention. I don't believe you stay away necessarily from controversial causes if it aligns with who you are, right? Who you are personally, and if it's a strong enough, an important topic for you, because I think that's kind of where we've gotten into trouble, right? Of trying to kind of position ourselves as one thing, but really in our hearts we're another, right? And so if you really feel strongly and very, you have strong conviction about something, don't stay away from it, but there is a way to, I believe, in marketing it or crafting messages that are not necessarily for contention, right? It's more or less about sharing who you are and what you believe in, and then just trusting that you're going to attract and repel the clients that work for you, right? And because we don't want to get everybody necessarily, we want to have those that maybe align with who we are and what we believe in and the way we work and the way we live our lives. So it just really is getting more personal with business, and that's something how when I first started my March Forward, it was really about getting personal with business. Because as much as because we all were, maybe majority of us grew up with the idea of separate business and professional, personal and professional. but it really came down. I remember working for a large, this company who was ran by a great CEO from New Zealand. And he was very big on, you should be genuinely at your core, the same as you are at work as you are at home, because he didn't want you coming in with a different face, right? And different, because he wanted you to feel, yourself, because he knows that ultimately that's when you'll be more motivated, more inspired, and and then your natural talents, can then definitely thrive. And that was something that carried with me, because I think I always was I wasn't a different person at work, but I certainly was a reserved person at work. I never really shared anything personal. I was good at my job, I was social, but I was very private. And so that gave me an opportunity to think about, this is not true. I want to be able to more open. And so this whole journey for March Forward and for me was about getting personal. And so with that, when it comes to causes, things that we believe in, initially, yeah, I was like many people saying, don't put it out there, because then, you might, not, people don't like that. And all of a sudden you're not going to be getting business. But I don't know. I'm very much genuine in who I am, and what you see is what you get, and what you hear is what is true. And so it was kind of one of those things where I felt, I can't, if something is strong in me, or I believe in it, it's important to me, I'll definitely share let people know about that, because it's just incorporated part of my brand values, right? Part of my core. And I think so a lot of that rests in you really knowing your brand, who you are, what are your brand values, core values, what are your guiding principles, and if it aligns and you can do it in such a way that aligns with that, your values and your principles that you've already been marketing, then go for it. But again, don't do it in such a way that is causing controversy, unless that's your brand. Otherwise, just do it in such a way that maybe just sharing and more positive, more aligned with solutions rather than no solution, right? And just
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think if you guys, we got a bunch of people watching and commenting. So thank you so much for being here. I really want to know what causes that you're, interested in, what things that you really stand for. You touched on before about, and I think this is a lot of us. We don't want to pick certain things, because what if everybody doesn't align with that specific thing? That's kind of the whole point. That's the whole point, is that you are you individually. You stand for these specific causes. These are really important to you. So in that case, you're going to be attracting all of the people that have that same common bond and that cause and that interest that's close to their heart. And that, that might not align with everybody. And that's okay, because, not everybody's your client, and not everyone's going to be attracted to everybody else. There is different things and causes that we can. My thing, and this might be some, I know you guys let me know if this is what you kind of struggle with, is I am like not very passionate. I'm moderately passionate about a lot of things. So how do I go, how do I pick? That's my thing. How do I say, if I say, I'm picking these 3 causes that I really want to focus on, how does that say all the rest of the things that I'm, passionate about don't matter? And what is, how do you talk about that?
I mean, and I think it's, it's a hard thing. It's like for me, my core brand values are love, compassion, and integrity. And so my guiding principles are gentle discipline, compassionate listening, and progress is perfection. And so keeping those in mind, if and when something makes sense. And then I also talk about your why, my own personal story, right? Of how I came from 9 to 5 to working for myself. And a lot of that was for my emotional well-being and mental health. So one of the causes that's important to me is mental health, right? Being a mental health advocate. And, I would share the importance of it in the matters, occasionally. But then just last year, I decided to really get behind one particular organization, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And so every year now I want to do my part in raising money, right, for that. And so that's important to me. And, it won't come out of the blue, because I have already been sharing messages about the importance of emotional well-being and mental health in my content. So again, I think, you only know yourself. And like you said, there are things that we're moderately passionate about, but there are things that it just sticks with us, right? It's just every time we we come across that cause or that topic, it really hits our heart. Then you choose, you just have to make that choice of, which ones do I want to get behind and which ones I'm going to continually support and I'm going to build into my brand. Because just like every corporate brand, those large brands, you got to think about it, guys. They've got their own corporate social responsibilities, and then they choose causes, right, to get behind that align with who they are, their culture, their people. So similar to us as solopreneurs, or for your coaches especially, because that's the one thing I think I learned is like working one-on-one with people. It's just hard to get away from the fact of who you are, right? You're genuinely who you are. And like you said, you want to attract someone that kind of complements. I mean, there's always going to be differences in opinions, but there's something about working with somebody who aligns with my value system, right?
That's
who
the
aligns,
key.
yeah, who aligns with my guiding principles. It's easier to work with. It's more natural. I feel it's more effective and more productive. And I just think that's kind of where I went with my business. Was I was okay not working with everybody. I was okay with working and being actually selective, sometimes saying no to particular folks, because I already knew that we wouldn't be able to, maximize our opportunity together, right? Because maybe we just didn't align well, and it's okay. It's not that I judged them. It wasn't like I was, against them. It was more like, hey, we're not a good fit. Here's somebody
Right.
that I think would work with you.
Well, this is what I talk about too. Oh, sorry. The coaches that there is a lot of coaches out there. There is a lot of coaches that do very similar things. There's lots of experts that do very similar things. But being able to stand out and specifically connect with your ideal client because you're standing for these causes and because of who you are individually, that is so powerful, because that is what's specifically going to attract the right people to you. So that's really, really important. I use the analogy of Facebook ads. Like there's a lot of people that are experts in Facebook ads, and then there is, like, when I wanted to learn about Facebook ads, I go, there's one person that I really want to learn from. Like I want to get to know her more, that I really align with her, and it's, and being, because she shared about herself and how I had this connection point with her, that's what made me really want to.
Because that's the truth, right? Especially with your coaches. I mean, there are, sorry to say, there are a lot of coaches these days. And so what's going to make
it's good. It's a good thing. It's good that
there's
a lot
it's
of
great
coaches.
Because that means there are a lot of people. There's a demand for life improvement. There's a demand for business improvement, personal development. And that's a great thing. But, like you said, so that's why it's so important, especially I think for coaches, is to really craft and really do that intense work for a very core personal brand, so that then everything built from that, it's like the foundation, then everything else comes easier, right? What my strategy is going to be, what my messaging is going to be, what my products and solutions are going to be, how I choose to brand it. What I think I've seen are the folks that falter is like when they don't have that core, which relies on knowing your core brand values and your core guiding principles, personally, as well as professionally, and then it makes it much more challenging. There are a lot of folks that are out there just doing it and working, but I think it just comes more effortlessly and organically when you've done the hard work. I call it the hard work, and doing that hard work to really understand yourself, and because that I think ultimately, like you said, will attract not just your what you believe your ideal client is, but really those that you're called to serve. And I think that's important. That's important.
Oh, absolutely. I think first and foremost, for sure. And I just want to say thank you to Brian Schulman for showing up here. We got I was talking about you earlier, Brian, because I noticed your post this morning about your daughter turning 20, and talk about heart. Yes. Oh gosh. It was like holding back the tears. I'm still holding back the tears, man. That's just, why do kids have to grow up so fast? It was just the sweetest thing. And I want to know, everyone that's here, tell us what causes that you stand for. I'd love to hear, about the things that you're really passionate about. And if you have the opportunity right after the show, we're going to connect. We can talk about it in our little video chat room.
And I think on my slide, we can kind of walk through the three, if you don't mind popping that up.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
What we'll do is just to make sure I address some of the three tips that you guys, like you said, this is not a one size fits all. Nothing is a one size fits all. And I think that's important to understand. At least for me, everybody, there are so many different hearts, and so many different hearts in different stages and different places. And circumstances. And so, the best that you can do is be true to your own, and then ultimately, like we said, it was attract those that you're called to serve. So I think, when I was doing this, this was a specific because Amy was like, hey, let's get really deeper into branding without contention, right? And because I had one woman in one of my workshops ask, she is a big supporter of BLM, hashtag BLM, Black Lives Matter, and so am I. And so she wanted to know how she can incorporate that into her marketing and her content marketing. And as we have seen, there have been brands that have made that stance, right? They have placed it on their websites. They have, that's understanding who you are as a brand and deciding what we're going to stand for, right? And so same token, I said, well, if this is what you believe you're going to stand for, you have a conviction in it, then there's a way to post content in such a way that, again, is more solution oriented, more forward, kind of progress thinking versus, building up the animosity and the fear and the hate and the anger. And not to say that those are justifiable emotions. I think that we're just, at least for me, because I lead more from the heart, that I know there's a lot of troubling times right now and a lot of dark times, and it's important to raise our voices. It's important to be, in some cases, assertive beyond that we've ever been. But I know there's a lot of folks doing that for me, right? Because in my personality type, I prefer, again, love, compassion, integrity are my values. I try to align myself more with the good and the optimist, right? The more optimistic. And not only for my own mental health and emotional well-being, but also because it's just part of who I am. And so I think I could still stand for Black Lives Matter, but at the same time, post content, thought-provoking, conversation that is not built around trying to cause controversy, because that's just not that's not how I am. And so as a result, I'm very careful of the words that I choose. I'm very careful. I use the I statement more than you, we. I'm very much about, I believe, or I have experienced, because nobody can ever argue or refute your experience, right? So when you use the I, my experience, my personal experience, and not generalize and just keep it about you, nobody can really fight against that. Nobody can say, no, that's not true. It's like, I just told you, I experienced this. So whether it's not, they can't really say it wasn't true or not, because you're doing it more from a personal. I think that helps as you post those things that are very strong right now, especially if they're very controversial topics right now. As founders, as the business owners, I believe that's where if you're still kind of stuck between like how to do it or why, then do it from your own personal, like the CEO letter, or you going on live and talking about it personally, and not speaking on behalf necessarily of every employee. And so just saying that this is where I am, this is where I'm thinking, and this is, as a result, I'm the core of my foundation or my business. This is, just so everybody knows. But yeah, so for the three, I think here are the tips that I had. Identifying the causes we just talked about earlier that aligns with your brand values, because it makes more sense. You could do all you want in your personal pages, right? And in all those moderate passions, you can definitely promote. But when it comes to your business and your professional life, even if you're just somebody who works for a company, an employee, you want to make sure that whatever content you put out there still aligns with what you have defined as your core brand values. It just keeps it consistent. It keeps it where people always are remember and think of you in a certain way. So, I've got folks that tell me all the time if they see something with love or hearts, they think of me immediately, which is, in some ways, those are kind of that confirmation and validation that I'm putting the content out that speaks to my values, right? And then number two, considering your brand, considering your audience. Again, you always have to think about what your audience is going through. And I think that's the part sometimes we're missing, is that I do my best in listening to my existing clients or asking them how they're doing. And then I get a general sense of if these are my existing clients and how they're feeling, who are my target clients, right? Then I essentially try to keep that understanding, and that because I think that then will dictate how I write, what I post, because I already know what they're generally feeling, right? Um, and you know what I mean? So, because like if I know that they're like you were talking earlier, I have a lot of parents as clients, and they're struggling with at home care or at home distance learning. I take that into consideration. So that maybe the last thing I'm going to post about is you should be doing more. Here are all these activities you could be doing, because I know mindfully they're not in that position of extra time right now, just right now. And so it's just kind of being aware. And I think that as you do that, being considerate, I think, and that's going to probably be my word for 2021 is I think we've lost a little bit of consideration and just being considerate.
Empathy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then finally, understand how to brand with intention. And I think we talked about this earlier again. It's just words matter. Words matter. How we post matters. Some of the visuals we choose, the videos we choose, even the colors we choose matter, because they, as we all know, there's that color psychology, right? Certain colors can invoke certain emotions. Certain images invoke certain emotions. So again, as you're crafting your strategy and as you're, deciding what causes to get behind, just remember, to be thoughtful around, again, what my audience is probably going to feel once they see these images and once they hear these words, or, let's read my words. I think that's really key.
Yeah, knowing your ideal client is, that's key right there, is getting to know them really well, because that's, in marketing especially, you've got to know, in order for them to know that, let me start over. They have to know that you really understand and know them really well to really build that connection.
Yes.
So if you can really get into their brain and really understand what they're thinking, all your marketing content is done. Because all you're doing is you're talking to that specific person, you know exactly what they're going through, you know exactly what they're thinking. And that person's going to go, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going through. And yes, I need, this is the path I'm on. This is the help that I do need. So yeah, it's absolutely imperative, I think, especially when you're talking about figuring out the causes, is figuring out, what's important to you, and then what's important to your ideal clients, and really finding that common
specifically
connection.
That niche, because our hope is, right, we've attracted folks that are aligned with our core brand values and guiding principles, but then the next step will be, again, figuring out what they feel like today, right? At this moment. And part of that is, like you said, market research, guys. There are a lot of large consulting firms that have already done the work. So I always encourage coaches, small business owners, to take advantage of that and review how the current buyer sentiment is, how different industries are faring, what some of the executives are thinking in terms of how business is going to go. There's marketing trends and things like that. And just keeping an eye, being on the pulse of that is important, because that, along with knowing what your existing clients are feeling and doing and responding, will then craft much more, to me, custom and more thoughtful and considerate content, right? That's more intentional, right? Rather than just, I'm going to put anything out there,
Right, exactly. Yeah. Intentional, strategic, consistent, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you definitely have to have a plan in place, and you have to know what your ideal client is, again. So this is such a good conversation, and I'm glad it doesn't have to end, because we're going to hop into a messenger chat, and we'll hope you can join us. I put the link in the comments. Hey, Doc, so glad that you're here. I would love to have you in our little chat, so we can talk about the causes that are important to us. We brainstorm ideas on how we can really incorporate that into our marketing, and really just connect, because I don't get out much. I don't know about you, but I would just like to chat, right? A lot of us are the same boat, right? Hello, I just want to chat, hang out with you face to face. So definitely click on the link there in the messenger chat room. And thank you so much. Thank you, Maryrose. You offered so much value, and thanks again for being here. And we'll chat with you all in a few minutes.
Bye.
Bye.